This is an economic Armageddon that's coming for the U.S. consumer and the economy.
I know what the hell I'm doing. I know what I'm doing.
Today on the Morning Edition, new tariffs on imports from almost 90 countries are in effect as of today. President Trump's supporters are celebrating while others are worrying. Plus, a budget battle in Juneau. Lawmakers move forward with a plan that promises a hefty PFD but leaves a giant gap to fill. We have what comes next and later. Rockets research and Northern Lights, and Alaska University teams up with NASA to unlock the secrets in the sky that could improve how we communicate as the Morning Edition starts now. Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up with us today. That sounds interesting. We love the Northern Lights here on the Morning Edition, especially. We show those pictures all the time.
Yeah, we see all of those stunning photos coming in. And of course, as we've mentioned, our chances dwindling as we continue to gain more of that daylight. Despite that, we are seeing that return to those winter conditions. Getting out on those roadways this morning, slick conditions will be a concern. You will notice, though, that those snow-packed roads we did see yesterday, those for the most part have melted. We're still seeing that higher sun angle, and those temperatures are warm enough throughout the month of April that we are seeing that ongoing melting taking place across the region. But still be careful on those roadways as you will encounter some of those slick conditions. We're several degrees cooler or warmer this morning, sitting at 30 degrees, and that is why we're going to be watching for some of those icy conditions for parts of South Central to start off your Wednesday morning. 30 degrees in Palmer, 24 in Eureka, 35 in Valdez. Still holding on to rain out towards coastal regions, outside of areas out towards southwestern parts of the Kenai. This is where we continue to see a winter weather advisory remain in effect until 1 p.m. this afternoon, where storm totals could amount to about 10 inches of that snow accumulation. Inland areas of South Central, a lot drier this morning, but we will still see that potential for some of that spotty to isolated snow showers, which will carry us throughout the day. But much like we did see yesterday, there'll be several hours of some dry time with some on and off snow showers that will carry us into the afternoon and evening hours. And you can see some spotty activity that has been pushing out of South Anchorage this morning and then across Midtown and parts of West Anchorage to start off your Wednesday. Those temperatures today will nose their way into the upper 30s, if not near 40 degrees. You can see that isolated to scattered chance for some snow does remain with us throughout the day. And yesterday we were talking about most of the snow will taper off into our Thursday, but with what we're looking at through the Gulf Coast region, with that area of low pressure for the most part continuing to remain with us, we'll likely see some snow showers continuing through the rest of this week. 33 degrees in Fairbanks, 40s out towards southeast with more rain. Still chilly as you head out west. I'll have more on that 7-day forecast and what to expect with the warming trend across South Central coming up.
We're making deals, and people are paying tariffs.
Alaskans are watching closely after a new round of sweeping tariffs hit overnight, how the world is reacting, and we break down what it might mean for the cost of living and oil prices in our state. But first, new this morning, investors are white-knuckle grip mode after the biggest tariffs yet kicked in, and China promised to fight to the end. Still, despite warnings of an escalating trade war, President Trump insists the pain in the pocket for Americans will be short-lived. And as Alice Barr reports, the country will profit eventually.
Not going to take it anymore, and that's what...
This morning, President Trump's trade war ratcheting up as his unprecedented tariffs on imports from around the world took effect just after midnight, spooking Wall Street investors once again.
I know what the hell I'm doing. I know what I'm doing.
The White House says 70 countries have already reached out to negotiate down the tariffs.
They are dying to make a deal. Please, please, sir, make a deal.
Something some Republicans wary of stock market plunges and recession warnings are begging the president to do.
Pretty pleased with sugar on top. You sit down with every one of these countries that want to lower their trade barriers, and let's make a deal.
Others standing by President Trump's tariff strategy.
To reset, recalibrate the entire global economy by bringing it all home to America.
But economists warn it will take years to rebuild American manufacturing for products like apparel and electronics that long ago shifted overseas, with the U.S. especially reliant on China, now hit with a cumulative 104% tariff. China firing back with retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods. Some products like imported auto parts already seeing sticker shock from earlier tariff rounds.
There was one part that was around $280, and then 2 days later, the cost went up to like $328.
Democrats underscoring higher prices for American consumers.
The U.S. economy has gone from the envy of the world to a laughingstock in less time than it took to finish March Madness.
As President Trump stands firm that his big bet on trade will pay off. China now increasing its tariffs on U.S. goods to 84% amid signs elsewhere of negotiation. South Korea's top trade official headed to Washington seeking a reduction in tariffs. And President Trump says Japan is sending a team for trade talks, too. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Imported produce largely spared from new tariffs, most coming from Canada and Mexico, which have been exempted. But food industry experts warn some prices in Alaska and other parts of the country may rise quickly for some perishable staples like bananas.
Fresh products, because you can't build up inventories and there's a limited lifespan, you will feel that quickly, maybe as soon as a week or 10 days.
President Trump says his team is working on tailored deals that eventually could lower some of those tariffs. In the meantime, American businesses have to pay up. Effectively, Trump's tariffs could end up being the largest tax increase in U.S. history. It was another down day on Wall Street, and Alaska oil prices took a hit, dropping $2.40 per barrel to just over $65. That's well below the state's revenue forecast, which bases this year's budget on a $74.48 a barrel and $68 for next year. At the Capitol, House lawmakers say they still plan to send the 2026 budget to the Senate next week, even with major disagreements still on the table. The current version passed by the House Finance Committee includes a $3,900 PFD, but also a $1.9 billion deficit. Lawmakers say they want to tackle that gap before moving the budget forward. Both minority and majority members weighed in on the challenges ahead.
We know that we're working with a budget that is way out of balance, and we're working to try to get that put back together. So we know, being in the majority, I've been in that position. It's hard to do what they're doing right now, and we're here to help. We're here to make that happen, and we're also here to be responsible, to do the solid work for Alaskans, and there's going to be some hard choices ahead, and we're going to have to we're here to make that happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're all in a pickle. It's not just the House majority, it's the House minority, it's the governor, it's the Senate majority, it's the Senate minority. We all own the situation in front of us. We are doing our best in the House to put forward a budget that is balanced, that meets all those essential services, that provides a meaningful BSA, that accounts for the fact that our schools are under-resourced, and it's very difficult.
The budget will be taken up by the full House at some point. Lawmakers maintain they want to get the bill to the Senate as early as next week. A Friday night altercation at a Matsu movie theater left a woman injured and sparked social media buzz. It happened during a showing of the Minecraft movie. A theater employee told Alaska's news source she was body slammed by teenagers on her first day, but didn't want to speak on camera. Police say the teens were rowdy but complied and left the theater. No charges have been filed. A career tech student in Wasilla was arrested Monday after troopers say they found marijuana and a gun with altered serial numbers inside the student's car. The school district told Alaska's news source there was no threat to the school or other students during the investigation. The student now faces charges of misconduct involving a weapon and a controlled substance.
And I'd like the conversations happening in the home with families about safety in schools.
That's the hope behind a proposed ordinance in Anchorage aimed at holding parents accountable when children bring guns to school. The plan has sparked strong reactions, but now it's been put on hold. Justin Mattson explains why the idea isn't moving forward, at least for now.
I think the government's trying to take too much control of the public and the parents and stuff, and I don't agree with it at all.
They should be held liable for whatever the kids take to school. I mean, school kids are dependents of parents, and the parents should be responsible.
I think it's a complicated matter with all issues pertaining to gun control and what parents are responsible. I think it depends on the age of their child and other circumstances, mental health of the child, and their accessibility to weapons.
It's a complicated matter, brought into the spotlight once again as Wasilla looks for answers after a student had a gun found in their car. The ordinance was originally brought forward by Assemblymember Karen Braga following a lockdown at Betty Davis East High School back in February. She says it lacked political support, while those opposed say it was illegal.
If I'm to be honest, that people are afraid of backlash. They're afraid of their next election.
We did receive an opinion from the municipal attorney's office that said they believe it isn't within the state law for us to take action in this way.
Instead, Assembly members introduced a resolution at last night's meeting calling for a public education campaign on gun safety and parental responsibility, along with a program to interrupt violence in schools. In addition, the Assembly is debating a new warming center and targeting legislation about emerging drugs. As Joe Allgood reports, members had plenty to discuss.
Here's a look at a few of the items that the Assembly is looking at in their first meeting after the most recent 2025 municipal election.
A slew of postponements and suspensions came out of the meeting, like the gun ordinance, which was pushed back indefinitely. Another postponement was a contract with Henning Inc. for operating a new warming center for individuals without housing.
The approach that I think the mayor has pursued since the beginning and that we're committed to is that we want to create options for people to engage, and then we are also going to abate camps and enforce the law. And when we do that, we're honoring people's dignity in the sense that they have choices, they have autonomy.
Similarly, a contract for port improvements to the tune of more than $800 million was postponed to a special meeting next week. It wasn't all postponements, though. Included in new legislation was an ordinance that would make recreational possession of kratom and nitrous oxide, also known as laughing gas or whippets, a misdemeanor. Assemblymember Randy Salt presented the ordinance.
Someone has to lead the way, and we're starting to see issues with that in the community, and why wait for it to get out of control and be a full-fledged pandemic or epidemic like we had with spice a while back.
On a lighter note, the Assembly formally recognized West High School's production of Hadestown. The group will be performing this weekend at the Alaska Performing Arts Center. Joe Allgood, Alaska's news source.
And we have more information and a preview of that upcoming Hadestown production a little later in the newscast. But remember, if you missed any story, you can always find it on our free streaming app on Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and Roku. Watch the news at your time and on your schedule. Download the Alaska's News Source app from your streaming device. Instructions on how to do that are on our website. Just click streaming in the top banner. After the break, sober truths and saving lives. April is Alcohol Awareness Month. In our health report, how one program is fighting back with education and why knowing your limits could be a lifesaver.
Still holding on to areas of rain and snow across South Central. I'll have more on that 7-day forecast. But first, sunrise, 6:55 in Anchorage, 6:01 in Juneau. The full forecast is next.
For those of you in Juneau, keep an eye out for a dog that's been on the run for about 2 months. Animal Control shared these new photos of Jackie, seen Tuesday morning and several times over the weekend. She was brought to Alaska from Los Angeles after the wildfires in January, but managed to escape her new home shortly after arriving. So far, nothing, including cheeseburgers and chicken, has tempted her into a trap. I don't know, Aaron. Cheeseburgers and chicken would lure me.
Maybe try pizza?
Maybe pizza, yeah. Maybe they just need to try a new snack. Who knows?
I mean, something to get the dog in, but I mean, cheeseburgers and chicken would get me anywhere, but we'll see what happens here over the next couple of days. We are waking up. We're still holding on to that winter weather across South Central. Here over the past couple of days, Temperatures actually have been on the cooler side. Now, we spent a large portion of March and the first part of April with those temperatures fairly warm. In fact, last week, Tuesday and Thursday, both saw those temperatures warming into the lower 50s, which was record highs that we did see. Notice this week, we're actually seeing that cooler weather. We were below freezing Monday. Yesterday, we made it into the mid-30s, and today we may make it into the mid to upper 30s across the region. But we are waking up to some warmer conditions. You can see Anchorage about 5 degrees warmer through McGrath and to the interior. Those temperatures roughly about 10 degrees warmer, even seeing parts of the West Coast with this slow warming trend. So this cooler weather that's been with us for the past couple of days, it is slowly dissipating, and we're going to see temperatures warming here over the next couple of days. By the weekend, we're talking about highs in the interior, potentially making a run into the 50s. Still holding on to that active weather through the Gulf Coast region, and then we've got some quieter conditions out west with some light flurry activity looking possible. These areas of low pressure primarily out over the open waters, but it will keep some breezy conditions in play for parts of the West Coast region. As far as what we're seeing across South Central and Southeast, ongoing rain showers continue for the Panhandle, while we're still holding on to pockets of rain, snow, and some breezy conditions across South Central. Most of the rain has been confined to coastal regions. Inland areas, this is what we're seeing more in the way of a snow with some rain embedded within that, and we are going to see that chance again later today. Of course, like yesterday, we'll see several hours of some dry time, and then we'll see that chance for some light snow to build in towards the afternoon and evening hours. So still keeping with this waves of moisture here over the next couple of days. Likely going to see this stretch for some snow showers to stay with us into our Friday if we continue to see this moisture streaming in from the Gulf Coast region. So nowhere near done with winter as of yet. Temperature-wise, though, we will slowly begin to warm here over the next couple of days, and that's going to amount to that snow that we've been seeing across the region will quickly melt across South Central. But here over the next couple of days, we could still pick up a couple of more inches of that snow accumulation. Highest amounts will occur through Turnagain Pass, western Prince William Sound, Portage, Whittier, and those higher elevations. This is where we could see up to 8 inches of snow accumulation. Western parts of the Kenai, the Anchorage Bowl into the valley, we could pick up a few inches here or there over the next couple of days, with most locations transitioning into some rain as the weekend arrives. We do have a winter weather advisory out towards the southwestern parts of the Kenai until 1 p.m. Additional snow up to 2 inches. And then, of course, the western Prince William Sound, that winter weather advisory goes into effect at 10 a.m. for 3 to 8 inches of snow, looking likely with winds up to 40 miles per hour. So still holding on to that winter weather. Temperatures still a bit on the cooler side, although fairly seasonal, with mid to upper 30s looking possible across the Kenai. Upper 30s to near 40 as you head from Prince William Sound into the Copper River Basin. We'll also tap into some breezy winds today. Notice through the valley, we could see those winds gusting as high as about 30 miles per hour from Willow out towards Palmer. So be prepared for that throughout the day. We'll even see some of those gusty winds here in Anchorage, which will warm us near 40 degrees later this afternoon. So active weather staying with us with that chance of snow, rain through at least the end of this week. And then there's those temperatures warming back into the mid-40s with rain as we welcome in next week.
All right. Thanks, Aaron. With spring feeling more like winter, it helps to have the forecast right in your pocket. Download the Alaska's Weather Source app from the App Store. Get local forecasts, live radar, and satellite maps wherever you are. Heading out of town, just switch on Follow Me for weather updates on the go. Medications used to treat diabetes and aid in weight loss may offer another potential benefit, reducing the risk of dementia. 2 new studies published in JAMA Neurology found that drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy could lower the chances of developing dementia by as much as 45% among diabetes patients. Researchers used data from 2014 and say more study is needed to see if the same protection applies to people without diabetes.
What we're seeing is there's this underlying mechanism of damage to blood vessels, inflammation, which is what's driving many of the chronic diseases we see, whether that's heart disease, kidney disease, damage to the brain, which can lead to stroke or dementia. So it makes sense that these medications may potentially have this effect.
In other news about weight loss drugs, the Trump administration is blocking a Biden-era proposal to expand Medicare coverage. A spokesperson says the decision could be revisited, but for now, Medicare will only cover the drugs for conditions like diabetes or heart disease. In this morning's health report, it's a conversation that could save lives. April is Alcohol Awareness Month, and the Army Substance Abuse Program is using it to spotlight the impact alcohol has on behavior. And as Adrian Peterson reports, how prevention and education can make all the difference.
According to the Army Substance Abuse Program, alcohol is a primary risk factor for a multitude of harmful behaviors, driving the need for awareness.
It's the biggest risk factor across harmful behaviors, including DUI, sexual assault, domestic violence, and suicide and child abuse.
Buse says the most important thing her program works on is prevention and education related to alcohol.
So we know that we save more in prevention than what it would cost with loss of training dollars, our emergency response, or court dollars.
The prevention and education they engage in seeks to establish best practices such as having a designated driver, drinking within the recommended limits, and being able to gauge whether or not you may have a drinking problem. That information is in part provided through the Prime for Life classes.
By the time you're done the class, you should be able to recognize signs of misuse or abuse, and know when or if you need help and how to get to those resources.
According to the Institutes of Health, men should not exceed 2 drinks per day and 1 drink per day for women. Adrian Peterson, Alaska's news source.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's news source automatically, and stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.